Hello everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. And today I want to talk about what's going on in the world here on April the 14th, 2026. And earlier this week, President Donald Trump made a shot across the bow kind of back to Pope Leo the 14th or 13th, whatever he is now. I don't know. I don't even give the guy credit. I don't recognize him as the Pope. I think what's about to happen in the world is going to shatter things quite a bit because the truth is about to come out. And what Donald Trump had basically said was that Pope Leo the Third, whatever, was put into office basically to cause a problem for the MAGA, Trump especially, or basically Western civilization in general. This group that's at the Vatican right now is really pretty much anti-capitalist, but they're pro-money. So they're in a really tough situation as it goes because, you know, they need money. They're spending faster in many cases in areas, faster than the money can come in, unless they're getting huge, banks of cash from the governments for their NGOs, which are doing those work. So there's a lot of tension that's going on between the leadership of the Catholic Church at the Vatican right now and what they want to do to the world and change how things are, and what the folks in Western civilization, for the most part, and primarily the United States, who has to carry this fight to try to save, I think, the dignity. And everyone wants to talk about democracy. Well, the Greeks showed that democracy is not a good route to sustaining a culture and a civilization. Having the majority oppress the minority is not a good thing. And that's what happens in democracies of majority rule. Typically, all you need is one other person to agree with the radical thinking, and all of a sudden the whole room is in turmoil. So this is what a lot of people say. They want to have democracy. I don't think they really understand what democracy is, but they want to have representation. They want to make sure that they're being heard, seen, and that their voice matters. It may not be the right voice, but at least somebody's hearing it and saying, okay. You know what I've always learned in dispute resolution as an auctioneer was that you can have two people that don't agree on the answer to something or what the conclusion should be as far as settlement of assets. But I always found that if I let the two parties at least speak openly, share what it is that their concerns are or what their complaint is or what their desires are, that even if I didn't agree with what they said and I ruled differently in the settlement of an estate or assets or things like that, that at least they felt if they were listened to and heard, they weren't as angry or combative if I ruled against them or decided to go a different route. So at least they felt as long as they were heard and listened to and their voice was made clear, then they really didn't have a problem with the outcome. They didn't like it, but they didn't keep battling. So this is a great way, is to let people express themselves, answer back to them what it is you hear and understand, let them correct or change anything that may want to add or exclude, and then move on from there. And all you have to do is say two little words: I understand. And that's a good way to just kind of like stop the push. So right now we have this problem going on in Iran right now, and it's not the problem. It's just a symptom of the larger problem that's going on in the world. And right now the real problem in the world is the clash between Judeo-Christian societies and the Islamists. And this is a clash of cultures that cannot be mollified. It can't be subdued to where there's peace amongst the two, because it's never happened. I don't care what people say. I don't care what the mullahs say. They twist the words, they twist the meaning, and they somehow they always come out looking great. I don't know how this happens, but, if history, can keep going to one side as being the winners and victorious and virtuous, boy, we really got something to talk about here. Well, Trump basically blasted back at Leo that he was just there to hold a place and do what they wanted him to do, which, you know what, the man is exactly right. It's what we've been saying here for quite some time. It's what the Blessed Mother had told me back in 2001, that the church would split. And the church is splitting right now. It's in the process of doing this, because what Donald Trump opened the door to the other day was further examination and exploration into the facts and storyline that was told by one Mike McCormick in his book, An Almost Insurmountable Evil. Now, this book Alex and I had talked about. Alex will be back in the studio this week, and we're going to talk about these things and try to bring everything kind of together to our current affairs and see how we got here and what started. Now, this all really began back during the Clinton administration. It had a little bit of a hiatus during the Bush administration, but it came back really strong in 2008 when Barack Obama took office. So we'll talk about how the worldwide corruption all led to the takeover of the Vatican, the coup against Benedict XVI in 2012, and then the bringing in of Cardinal Bergoglio to anoint him as then Pope Francis, which I would say is probably the first of our false popes. So we are in the times that have been talked about in Revelation. We're in the period that's been talked about subsequent prophecies. We are in that time. And I'm here to say, don't worry. It's going to be okay. Now, there is going to be division. The Roman Catholic Church will become the woke Catholic Church in principles. But what's going to rise out of this is a backlash, especially here in the United States, by Catholics who do not subscribe to what is being taught and what is being pushed. I hear it all the time. People want to say how the Catholic Church is growing. Well, it's increasing in numbers on the paperwork. But many times in the pews, there is a changeover that's going on. And what I have seen is a lot of the men and the families who are more conservative in nature are opting out a little bit. Maybe they're changing gears. I don't know. But I don't see them quite as much. I don't think they moved away. There are some more young men coming in. But they came in primarily, I say, because of the Charlie Kirk effect, that there was this elevation of conscience on the spiritual level. And I think that men in particular, with their response to Charlie's assassination, is more about what am I doing and what am I doing to answer this feeling I have in my spiritual life. And so they wanted gravity, and they wanted depth of feeling on this stuff, and they wanted sincerity. And so they opted into the Catholic Church, and so we had a lot of people were baptized this last Easter. But now with this news coming in and what's about to be revealed, because I would submit that Donald Trump was, I think, trying to be as kind as he possibly could in calling out the truth of the matter with Pope Leo. Pope Leo, I think, really screwed the pooch in his response. And I think what he did was he should have said, I'm sorry you feel that way, we'll talk. But he didn't. And so he kind of came back, and now he's activated his liberal, woke, gay enthusiast cardinals here in the United States to try to offer some sort of media pushback. Now, what I saw is not going to sit well with the young men that were just attracted to the church, who just came in looking for that depth. When they come in, they see, well, this is just more of the shit I was trying to get away from. What did I do? They're going to be questioning what it is they just did, and did they really make the right decision? They're going to be looking at their phones. They're going to be doing more media searches. And what Donald Trump basically unleashed at that moment is he basically gave lots of rope and tether to journalists and other investigative people who want to look into exactly what did happen. And so I think what's going to happen, there's going to be a lot more legitimacy given to the Mike McCormick book and his exposure of things that he learned as a White House stenographer for 19 years. And I think a lot of other people are going to start bringing in more pieces to the puzzle. And I think that's what is going to happen is there is going to be a true picture coming about. Of course, the Vatican will refute it. Other people will say, oh, that's all crap, that's all bullshit, that's all propaganda. Well, we're going to find out, and the world's going to find out. And this is that moment when change is beginning. Now, why do I say this isn't all that bad? Well, we already have the Roman Catholic Church. We already have the Eastern Orthodox. We also have the Eastern Catholic Church. A lot of people don't know about that. It's about 18 to 25 million people around Syria and places like that. Catholics around there are called Eastern Catholic. They don't subscribe everything to what the Vatican has to say. They follow along, but then they kind of change the notes in the music, as they say, to kind of go along with their feelings and sentiments about things. So even Catholics don't agree, but they still call themselves Catholics. Now, you have a lot of conscientious and conservative men and women in this country. A lot of this has been affirmed in the recent history because of the battles that are going on between the liberals and the conservatives. People have become more entrenched in their feelings about things, and so it's going to be harder for them to let go of these patterns and thinkings and decisions that they make along the way, and their tendencies to look a certain way versus another. This is natural. So when we have this break that's going on in the fundamental thinking that's going on, especially amongst these new young men who are coming in, and they see, well, all they're doing is just promoting what it is I just tried getting away from. And so they're going to be looking like, do I need to change the channel? And so I do believe that there is going to be an option here on the channel change. It's already happening kind of underneath the obvious, as we say in the world. There's clubs, I guess. There's people that meet, prayer groups. They'll get together for Latin masses. And I'm not saying the Latin mass is what's going to bring the young men in, but I think what's going to be is like a middle ground between this Roman Catholic and the SSPX and the Latin mass, the total depth of sincerity. There's going to be more of a non-LGBTQ Catholic feeling and faith. A lot of these people who will break away. Now, they're not going to break away entirely. I think they're going to do a lot what the Eastern Catholics do. They're going to follow along and see what the Roman Catholic Church is doing, but when they put in the fruit flavors and stuff like that, they're going to eliminate that. So there will be some cohesion in principle across the board, but there will be probably their own pope. They will assign their own bishops, because the ones we have right now, obviously the structure that's in place right now is failing miserably. This is not strength. This is weakness. This is capitulation. And in a lot of places and in practices, it's actually theft from the rest of society. And Alex and I will talk about that, how with this wave of illegals coming in and being brought in by groups like Catholic Charities and other NGOs from other churches, all they did was they soothed their own hearts and thought that they were doing the right thing. But all they did was cast these people onto the rest of society unwillingly, who said, we're not up for this, but they did it anyway. And so here we are, victimized by other people's good intentions. So is it corrupt? In a way, yeah, pretty bad. And is it fixable? Definitely. And I think that a lot of people in time are going to be thanking Donald Trump for his truth-telling in this. They're going to say, oh, he sucks, he's such a bad man, blah, blah, blah. Well, when the scab gets ripped off to let the wound heal properly, it hurts for a bit. But you end up with a better surface and a better situation and a healed body after that. And that's kind of what we're going to be going to. Now, what will happen after these schisms become fully entrenched? Well, we're entering into the period, I believe, of the Antichrist, if we're not already in it. So whether the Antichrist is the AI or whether it's an actual person, I'm not so sure about that, because I think if they're going to start giving a personality to AI, that's probably going to fit the definition of prophecy, but I'm not that guy. I'm just speculating. I'm riffing. But what will happen, I think, in the end, after this period of this, like what they call this false peace, or this period of peace under this Antichrist, there's going to be a lot of discernment. But then once everything is over and the sky's clear again, I do believe there will be a reaccumulation of the assets, if you will, in the way of the Catholic Church and its faithful, and all of the churches. They'll all be combined at that point. And so there's going to be a great coming together in unity, because they will have learned, hopefully this time, from the storms of the past. Now, I don't know, historically, humans have not done well with adhering to lessons of history. Many times it goes on for 2 or 3 generations, and then by the 4th generation, they all think they know better, and they start saying that the old ways are bad. Well, the old ways are wise. They may not be comfortable for people who are growing up and moving forward, but these are life lessons that matter. So wisdom matters, and knowledge is going to change and is going to lose its focus from time to time, depending on what the hot topic is of the day. But wisdom endures. So don't be afraid of this that's going on. Let's see what's going on. Don't let people push you into a corner. Stay strong, be aware, and don't freak out about this. But Alex and I will be talking about this. We're going to go further into depth on it, but I think what's happening is actually a good thing. So we'll talk about this a little bit more later on. In the meantime, I love you, and I'll be back.